We are the problem. Everything that is wrong with this world, people's lack of intuition and insight, we're the core of it. Me and you, straight up. If we don't realize this, how can we expect other people to realize it? How can we expect the world to change? The reality is we're only given two choices. If you see something, do something about it, or don't. And that applies to our own life, that applies to what's going on outside of our control. We have to be able to take charge of these little things in our life in order to make change in the world that we want to see. It's quite simple, but it's difficult to master. It takes a lot of time and conscious energy to know what we are failing at and when we are wrongly blaming the world around us for the issues that we have in ourselves. I remember I used to see people running around and kind of stepping on one another, and particularly individuals that seem really pointed in their approach and very singular in their mindset. And I used to think to myself, oh my God, these people are really missing something fundamentally in society. If they just understood that it's all about compassion and love and the good things in life, if they understood the impact of karma on their life, that, oh, their life would be so much better. But I was wrong. Every archetype of person needs to be expressed in our society, okay? We need people that are singular-minded, that are very individualistic, that need to prove something to the world, okay? And we also need support systems. We need cogs in the machine. We need people that are glue, we need people that are pot stirrers, we need it all. Which one do you want to be, right? The reality is that when we see problems in the world, they're often projections of our own insecurities. For instance, someone on the street, not getting food, begging for food on the street, right? How do we go about changing that? That's a problem in the world, right? It's a big problem in the world. How do you go about fixing that situation? Okay, you can do one of two things. One thing, which is arguably the easier thing, give something to that person, right? Go out of your way, give them whatever money, change you have in the pocket, food, okay? Shelter, if you want to go beyond it, shelter, you know? Really look into their stuff. The other thing is, what is the etiology of their problem? Meaning, where does their problem come from? Right? If it's a societal issue, if it's something that the local government is not doing properly, that's something to think about. But how are you going to solve that? Without first addressing where we, as individuals, waste, right? For instance, when I go and shop at Costco, I have a luxury of shopping at Costco. Okay, I find that there is a lot of plastic in the things that they use. Look at my little shirt here, right? I got a green thumb. I care about the planet. If I really wanted more people to understand the impact of their consumerism, to understand that whatever we throw away doesn't just disappear, right? I would write a letter to Costco and say, hey, I really like when you guys include stuff that is more environmentally friendly. That is the etiology of the problem, right? If there's a demand for something that is not just, then you will have more injustice in the world, period. We are the problem. You understand? Now, this also goes to say in some personal things that are social, things that have to do with our prowess in life or success in life. And when we find that it is very easy to blame the system that we are in for the issues that we have, we're probably not looking at the real etiology of the problem, right? Every system has thousands and thousands of people going through it all the time. If you are the one person or one of the 10% of people that somehow manages to fail in that system, is it the system's fault or is it yours? It's probably yours, right? Like who else can you blame? At the end of the day, that's one of the virtues of life too. It's just admitting to yourself that you're not perfect, and it's fine. You gotta be okay with that. But you also have to fix it. If you don't fix it, you're just gonna end up struggling in the next system that you're in. And you're gonna be part of the problem of the system. Right? The system's not busted. It could be a little bit better, it could always be improved, sure. But you not succeeding in that system is not because the system's busted, it's because you're not doing something. Right? So those people that I used to see go and kind of head first into situations and not really give a shit about anyone around them. After reading a little bit more of this book, Atlas Shrugged, which is arguably a book kind of focused on individualism and the power of it, I realized, listen, man, women, them, there are things in this world that if we want to accomplish, we kind of have to let go of the distractions around us, you know? We kind of have to be single-minded to get those things to happen. And that doesn't necessarily mean that we have to be cruel or that we have to take away from other people in order to do that. But if it so happens that is the case, but we are fighting for something that is just and virtuous in our head, then perhaps some people do need to get the hell out of the way. Okay? It's a harsh reality. But if you live in the West, at some point in your life, it's a reality you're gonna have to embrace. If you want to be successful, if you really want to make a difference in this world, you have to be willing to be so steadfast in your ideals that if someone comes across and says to you, no, I believe the other thing, and I'm gonna do everything in my power to stop you from doing that, then it's your job to stand up for yourself and your ideas. And so you gotta do the same thing. That's where the thing, if you can't beat them, join them comes in. Okay? There are certain ideologies that you have to stand firm in your life to have a sense of purpose, to have a sense of growth. It is a difficult pill to swallow, but alas, it is one that we must in order to make the changes that we want to have happen in the world. Good people, people that label themselves as good and virtuous, oftentimes me and you, oftentimes we forget that that's just subjective, right? That, okay, fine, you want to do all these great things, fine. What have you done actually to make that happen? We are the problem. The good people, the artists, the creative people that are passive, that are living their life in a way that live and let live. Sure, at some point in human evolution, we had the option of setting that tone for culture. Sure, we did. But guess what? We didn't take it. We didn't take that option. Okay? So that means that the option that we did take, see this tiger right in the back? The option that this tiger did take, okay? We're playing in that system now. If you want the world to turn out better, to actually be compassionate, to actually incorporate diversity and justice, you gotta play the same game as this guy. Straight up. The same game. And guess what? That requires having a singular purpose. That requires being a little individualistic. That requires knowing what you want out of situations and going and getting it. And if you don't get that, just say to yourself, hey, perhaps this is not the situation I want to really be in. That's the system we're in. And that doesn't mean you can't smile. That doesn't mean that you have to sit there and have a monotonous life and not have this incredible thrill and excitement for tomorrow. In fact, it means the alternative. It means the exact opposite. It means that when you stand firm for something, when you really believe in something, your life turns out to be so much better, so much more beautiful. You give inspiration to other people, you give inspiration to yourself. You can smile wholeheartedly and know that you are really pushing for what you believe in. There's no greater feeling in the world than that. For a human being, I really don't think so. Next to it, maybe equivalent, is serenity. Right? Like the thing that if we literally do nothing, if we just sit there, that's serenity. Like we have access to that any day of the week. We have access to that any moment of the day. All we gotta do is put this thing down and breathe. Those two things. That's it. Go do something or do nothing. Those are the two most beautiful experiences in a human life. Maybe not even, maybe beyond human, maybe life in general. So which one are you doing? And have you been doing one for too long? How do you know how to balance that? Check this video out. Talk a little bit about that balance. Remember, actualize your potential, my friend. We need you.